You know, you and I have talked before here on the program. Watch for that turnout. Watch for, 160, 170, because a big turnout could actually go well for Trump. And I'm so glad that we were wrong in that, because we didn't anticipate the number of people who actually, it seemed they were turning out to stop him. Give us some insight into what you saw from the ground there in Iowa.
Well, my prediction, the final would be 28 to 23 Cruz over Trump. It was 28 to 24. But the turnout was even higher than what I expected. And what we saw down the stretch here in Iowa was very reminiscent of what we saw 4 years ago with Ron Paul. And I don't want to insult Ron Paul, who I don't agree with on everything, but he has some serious ideas Donald Trump does not. His only idea is Donald Trump. But it was very similar, Dana, in that down the stretch, Ron Paul 4 years ago came in here leading the Real Clear Politics polling average. And then at the very end, enough people decided, you know what, I just don't think this guy can be president. And he went from first to third in the final week. And I think it's just that simple. That's what happened to Donald Trump. Cruz's organizational strength held sway. And then quietly, pardon me, been doing a lot of talking recently. Quietly, there was an under-the-radar movement of getting new evangelical voters out by our big organization here in Iowa, the Family Leader. And he looked at, when I saw the exit polls showed that 46% of the caucus goers were first-time voters, I thought we were toast. But then, in the end, Cruz only lost those first-time caucus goers by 7 points because the Family Leader did a phenomenal job getting even more people out of the pews and out of the churches to vote against Trump than what we otherwise were seeing on the ground up until that point.
And I think what we saw with Trump as well is that you can have as many rallies as you want to, and you can go on and do as many television programs as you want to, but if you do not have that ground game to get out the vote, it doesn't matter. Tell us about his ground game, because from what I understand, it was nothing compared to Ted Cruz's.
It wasn't even close. I mean, Cruz built the best organization the Republicans have ever seen in Iowa. You look at what Trump put together. I was getting texts from all over the state, people at their precincts telling me, hey, there's nobody here for Trump. There's no precinct captain here for Trump. Nobody speaking for Trump. Now, people would volunteer to do it organically, but he went out and hired a friend of mine, a guy named Chuck Laudner, who's considered maybe the best grassroots organizer in Iowa. He did that early on, and that gave his campaign some legitimacy. For the life of me, looking at it now, Dana, I don't know why he ever paid Chuck Laudner a dime, because he never did any of the retail campaigning that would have helped Chuck Laudner put a real network on the ground for the candidate. If the candidate won't work the state, if he won't meet people, if he won't talk to them, if he won't come down from on high doing photo ops, I don't care if your name's Hillary Clinton or your name's Donald Trump, you're not going to win a state like Iowa or pretty much any place else if you don't do that.